I figured that I would come on and talk about what it's like to be in a medically induced coma or being intubated and in the ICU. For me, I've experienced this 8 times this year. So within 3 months, I was intubated 8 times, which means I was put in a coma, sedated, paralyzed. They stuck a breathing tube down into my lungs and the machines were breathing for me, and I had a feeding tube, and that's what was keeping me alive essentially. Now, lots of people have different experiences with this. This is just my personal experience. This is not for everybody who's ever experienced this is just my personal experience. For me, I was not asleep. So sometimes when people think that you just would close your eyes and wake up and then time has passed and it's like, what? For me, that's not necessarily how it went. I was having like dreams and visions and everything. My brain was basically taking things that were happening around me in the real world and trying to make sense of them for a way that I could understand, I guess. For example, I kept hearing my dad go on the balcony and smoke a cigarette, and it was like convincing. That's what my brain said, you know. I just was like, oh, I'm taking a nap, why is my dad smoking, right? But what it turns out when I woke up, obviously there's no balconies in the hospital and he would not be able to smoke in there, and he doesn't even smoke anymore. But what I was actually hearing going on around me was I was hearing my dad talk, so his voice. My mom was playing wind sounds to try to keep the room like calm and keep everybody calm, I guess. So she's playing wind noises, and I kept hearing the door of the nurses and doctors coming in and out. So my brain put all of those things my body was experiencing and put it into something that I was able to comprehend. But I still didn't know what was happening, but like, it was weird. I was able to hear things, certain things, and I felt presence, I felt things like that. So for me personally, I have a playlist on my phone that is dedicated to being intubated. If I'm intubated, if I'm on the ventilator, if I am on life support, this playlist is to be played 24/7. It keeps me calm, it keeps my body calm, it keeps my mind calm. And now we know that, so now we have like steps in case I have to get intubated again. There was also really good times when I was intubated. When I'm talking about this, it's not like I knew what was happening and I was just like in the world. Like, this is looking back on it, it was way different. I remember that at one point I was floating in this like beautiful lake that was crystal clear, and I didn't have to worry about anything swimming up on me because that's like a fear of mine. But in this, whatever it was, I was floating and I was looking up and I could see the most beautiful sky. It wasn't too bright, it wasn't too dark. There's beautiful clouds and I could see the trees that are outlining the river. And it was the most peace I've ever felt in my whole entire life. It was so peaceful. I just feel like that's what heaven is. Like, that's what I personally think I experienced. Obviously, some people don't believe that, and that's totally okay. But that's what I personally believe happened. There's a few times where they told my parents, like, she's not going to make it through the night. She's probably, you know. And those times are when I personally think that that was happening. I also saw my great-grandpa, who had passed away when I was a kid, holding a baby, and I had miscarried a few years, like a year and a half ago. So when I asked him, like, who's that? He just said, like, it's okay, I'm watching him until you get up here. And it was like peace and calm, and it was like nice. Like, it felt like that. I look back, I think that I was in heaven. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, there was some bad times when I was intubated too. When I was stuck in like weird nightmares and weird situations where I was like, one of them is like I was trapped in a weird VR reality, and I was like working on this taco truck. I kept tasting the stale taste in my mouth. Turns out one of the medicines that they were pushing and cleaning my mouth with had a weird taste. That was probably what my body and my brain were like trying to process. So that's what I personally experienced. I don't know about everybody, but if I were to have a loved one on life support, I would talk to them just because I know what I experienced, and they may be able to feel and hear the things that are going on, and I hope that brings somebody peace. I hope that brings people peace. And like I said, I can't speak for everybody. That was just my personal experience with it. I'll include some pictures of me being intubated.